not easy for any Chelsea fan to watch last night, as they were humbled by Arsenal. Wasn't easy to watch at home. Wouldn't have been easy to watch from the away end for the Chelsea fans that went there. Certainly wouldn't have been easy if you were sitting among the Arsenal fans. And when I was kind of thinking of how you'd be today, I saw Omid Djalili, comedian, friend of the show, post out, and Chelsea fan, post out a little video of himself in among the Arsenal. Great look to camera, Lauren Hardy-esque, with the scoreboard at 5-0. And we're delighted to say Omid is prepared to put himself through it again. He joins us now. Hi, Omid.
Hey guys, thank you. It was just to try and give a bit of humour to the proceedings, because it was an Arsenal fan sat next to me just said, "Your face is just." He'd already taken the video. Then he just said to me, "Sorry, I've got to post that because that's just hysterical." Because it was just the most abject performance I've ever seen in the history of supporting Chelsea. So you had to laugh about it.
How did it come about? How did that ticket come about? Was it sort of offered from someone you know? And what made you say yes? Did you think you could go toe-to-toe with them last night?
I have a bunch of comedian friends who go, and they never want me to go with them. There's people like Ian Stone, Alan Davis, they all sit together. And there's one friend of mine who's not far from them, said, "Look, why don't you come with me?" We'd reserved the Arsenal-Chelsea game for about, I think, 6 months. And we went there. It's a lovely area. You can have food. I had a nice burger before, and there's lots of banter. In general, the Emirates is a great atmosphere, and the fans are North London boys, all fine. They all recognise me, and they're like saying, "You know, aren't you a Chelsea fan? What are you doing here?" And then afterwards, there was all this kind of mock concern about Chelsea. What's going on there? And people trying to give ideas of how they can help. I mean, it's like it's ridiculous. So I started tweeting. It made it even worse.
It's such an overreaction, really.
It isn't, but is it though, Andy? Because look, you and I remember. I don't know if you were at the game back in March 1986 when the last London derby we got drubbed by QPR 6-0, and that was a surprise. Although we'd lost 4-0 to West Ham a few days earlier, it was the Ides of March. Do you remember we lost 4-0 to West Ham, then we lost 6-0 to QPR, and I like to tell Chelsea fans, don't worry. It's a blip, but Chelsea were relegated two years later. So that was a real problem. But last night, it didn't surprise me. And that's where 38 years ago, it surprised me. It didn't surprise me. In fact, I even told they go, "What's your predictions?" I said 5-2. And they said, "Do you really think you get 2 goals?" I said, "No, but I know Arsenal are going to get 5." And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they should have had 2 goals. But you know, when I say overreaction, I'm talking about they won 6-0 last week against Everton. They ran City really close. They should have won the game. You know, there were reasons why they lost like that last night, and Arsenal are a really terrific side. Going for the title, they were right up for it. The worst thing that could have happened, an early goal. You know, the keeper should have done better. And once that had gone in, with the side he'd picked, it was fairly inevitable it was going to happen. There's a danger in overreacting, I think.
It is, but when you're at the game, that's why I love going to the games, because first of all, I've really got a true appreciation of Odegaard and Rice, and when you see them up front, they really are Rolls Royces. They're wonderful footballers, and if anything, I hope Arsenal win just for those 2 blokes. And also Leandro Trossard, as I tweeted, is a very underrated player. We'd talk about him more if he didn't look like a medical student who's done too many kind of night shifts at Middlesex Hospital. He just always looks like he's knackered.
Yeah. He's a bit dark around the eyes. It's true. It's like he isn't like a junior doctor. Like he's had an hour's kit. It's true, isn't it, really?
Yeah, no, we talk about him more. But having said that, when I say that was the most abject performance I've ever seen, is because you can see there's no movement. Every time Enzo had the ball, you saw that front line. Madueke didn't look like... I mean, Arsenal fans were impressed by him. I said, he's not doing much. And then Mudryk, who I even, as a joke, I tweeted that the more he's around, the more I realised it was the fact that Chelsea bought a Ukrainian just to wind up the ex-Russian owner. But actually, when I see him, when you see these players up close, I think, are they that bad? But there was no movement. It looked like they didn't want to be there. And the most disturbing thing was we're just literally behind Pochettino. And I like him. I want him to stay. I think he should stay for the rest of the season. But he genuinely didn't look like he had any ideas. He didn't look like he didn't care, but he just didn't know. He was like putting his arms like that. Even he seemed baffled, but didn't seem to have any power to change it. And that is the thing that really upset me.
Well, he hasn't got anywhere to... Jackson, I think, did all right, but he did that typical Jackson performance. He played well, but he didn't score. He had chances, he had 3 chances, he didn't take them. It's difficult. Who's he supposed to bring on instead? You know, the recruitment's been so poor. Sterling drives me mad.
Oh my God!
300 grand a week for that. I mean, really, and they're stuck with him. There's no way they'll be able to get rid of him. Who's going to want him? He's a shadow of the player he was. So Mudryk drives me mad as well.
Mudryk.
He's just so annoying. He's just got no football brain whatsoever. Yeah, he's quick and he's got skills in his feet, but actual positional play, ideas, all that completely missing. You know.
Something needs to change there. I mean, for a big game, I know Arsenal had the big. They'd lost to Villa. That they had something to prove. And
if Ødegaard and Rice and three of Arsenal's back four weren't playing, would that game have been 5-0 last night? It wouldn't. I think Arsenal may still have won, but I don't think it would have been that. It wouldn't have been that sort of thrashing if Palmer and Gusto had played. Yep. If Reece James was fit, it's a big ask for Alfie Gilchrist. He's a good young kid, but he's that was impossible for him in that position. He
played well though. Gilchrist played well.
Yeah, he did all right. He did all right. But
but it did seem like a suicide. That back four, I just thought, well, this is the game. They just want the one out the way, and they're going to try and win some other games to try and scrape 7th place. But in general, I really was disappointed that there was no movement, there was no ideas, and you can see we've got good. Enzo Fernandez is a good player, not in that team. Nicholas Jackson, he was always bought as a reserve, and Cuckoo's been injured. He was never meant to be the first choice, and he just, he needs time because he's only 22. But there's something seriously wrong when you show up at the Emirates with that kind of performance. It was like, I mean, I can't believe that the Arsenal fans weren't cheering. We want 6. They were doing that. They seemed to be happy with 5.
And they were being nice to you, Omid. That's what it was.
They were being nice to me. But the only argument I had when Ben White scored the 5th, I went, he meant that. And they all turned around and goes,
even he knew he didn't mean it. Yeah.
No, he did. That was the only argument.
It just summed everything. It summed the whole evening up, that didn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Really did.
But if it's true, we talked about Mudryk there. Imagine Mudryk in that Arsenal team. If you slot quite a few of your players, Fernandes, you slot a few of those players and dump them into a structured side that've had a couple of years to build.
That's my point.
They're not bad players.
No, it's completely different. But if you put Badiashile in the Arsenal team, they'd be relegated. He's absolutely the worst player I've ever seen in my life, honestly. I never want to see him in a Chelsea shirt ever again.
So you have no regrets, Omid? No regrets about going? No? You're pleased you went? Or
absolutely. I should never have gone in the first place. A complete waste of time. I was depressed. I kept thinking, I was just all night texting Chelsea friends who were just so upset. But having said that,
yes,
I have to say, because I'm a Londoner, and at the end of the day, these are my North London brothers, I actually enjoyed being with the Arsenal fans. There was nothing but friendly banter.
Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons, 1 till 4. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.